Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea from Austin Kleon's book, Show Your Work. We're going to break down how you can share your creativity and actually get discovered, but without that icky feeling like you're selling out.
Okay, let's be real for a second. Does the whole idea of self-promotion just make your skin crawl? I mean, don't you just wish you could lock yourself away, do your thing, and somehow, magically, people would find your amazing work? If you're nodding your head right now, you are definitely not alone. Actually, Austin Kleon pretty much wrote this book for us.
Well, the good news is there is another way. A way that's, well, it's more generous, it's more authentic, and honestly, it's way more effective. This isn't about shouting, "Look at me," from the rooftops. It's really just about sharing your journey.
And that right there brings us to our first big idea. This is a complete mindset shift. So let's just forget the word promoting. The new goal? To become findable. Now, we've all heard this classic line from Steve Martin, right? Be so good they can't ignore you. And look, it's not bad advice. Of course, you have to focus on getting good at what you do. But in the world we live in today, that's really only half the story. And that's exactly where Austin Kleon's update comes in. Think about it. You could be the most talented person on the planet, but if you're hidden away in your studio, if your work isn't online where people can find it, it's like it doesn't even exist. You've got to be discoverable. Okay, so to really get how to become findable, we first have to tear down this huge old myth about what creativity even is. You know the image, right? The lone genius, the solitary artist in a dark room, suddenly struck by a lightning bolt of inspiration, working totally in secret. Kleon says this is one of the most destructive myths out there. Why? Because it's super isolating, and frankly, it's just not how creativity actually works in the real world. So instead of this lone genius idea, the musician Brian Eno came up with something way better, the scenius. And the difference is huge. A genius, they hoard their ideas. But a scenius, they share. A genius thinks creativity is a solo sport, while a scenius gets that it's this whole ecology of talent. The bottom line is, great work is never created in a vacuum. So a scenius is really all about the community. It's the scene, the people you're learning from, borrowing ideas from, and contributing back to. And here's the best part. The internet is basically a massive, sprawling network of these scenes, and it's totally open for anyone to jump in and participate. Okay, so if we're throwing out that whole lone genius myth, how do we actually join a scenius and make ourselves findable? Well, it all boils down to one simple daily habit. So here's the big shift. The old way was to only show the final, perfect, polished product. But the new way? It's understanding that the messy, day-to-day process can be just as interesting, if not more interesting, to share. A great example is the astronaut Chris Hadfield. While he was up on the International Space Station, he shared simple stuff, like how he brushed his teeth in zero gravity, and millions of people were absolutely captivated. When you share your process, you build a real ongoing bond with your audience. And the best way to get started is with this super simple 3-step routine. Number 1, just do your work for the day. Number 2, while you're working, document your process. Snap a quick photo, write down a thought. And number 3, at the end of the day, just find one tiny little piece of that process to share online. Seriously, that's it. That's all it takes to start. So you might be thinking, okay, but what do I actually share? Well, writer Robin Sloan has this fantastic framework called Stock and Flow. Think of flow as your daily stream of little updates, tweets, Instagram stories, quick posts. It's the small stuff that just reminds people that you exist and you're out there doing your thing. Stock, on the other hand, is the big, durable stuff, the lasting content. We're talking blog posts, tutorials, finished projects. That's the stuff people find when they're actually searching for answers. And here's the magic. Your daily flow isn't just random noise. Over time, all those little updates and ideas, they start to connect. You'll see patterns emerge, and you can actually gather up all that flow to build your stock. It's amazing how small, consistent sharing eventually adds up to something really big and substantial. Now, social media is awesome for your flow, right? But for your stock, that important, lasting stuff, you need a central, permanent home, a little corner of the internet that you actually truly own. I mean, social media platforms come and go. Anybody remember MySpace? Exactly. But your own website with your own domain name, that's your digital home base. It is a piece of online real estate that is 100% yours, and no one can take it away.
And this is such a powerful way to think about it. Stop thinking of your website as a self-promotion machine. Instead, think of it as a self-invention machine. It's a sandbox, a laboratory where you can play with your interests, share what you're working on, and literally invent the person you want to become. Of course, once you start sharing, you become part of a bigger community. And just like any community, there are some unwritten rules, a little bit of internet etiquette you need to know. So this is a good time for a little self-reflection. Ask yourself this tough question. Am I actually contributing to my online communities, or am I just kind of shouting into the void? Kleon has a great term for this, human spam. You know who I'm talking about. It's the person who only ever posts links to their own stuff, never listens, never engages with anyone else's work. It's the digital version of that person who comes to a party, shoves flyers in everyone's faces, talks about themselves all night, and then just leaves. And they're always asking that saddest question on the internet. Follow me back? Yeah, don't be that person.
So what's the antidote? It's actually really simple. Be generous. The golden rule is if you want to get, you have to give. Be a fan of other people's work first. Share stuff you admire. And always, always give credit. Listen way more than you talk. Kleon says you should aim to be an open node. That's someone who freely connects people and ideas, making the entire network better for everyone. All right, we're almost at the end, but there's one last absolutely crucial piece to this whole puzzle, and it's all about playing the long game. Look, we all know the idea of overnight success is basically a total myth. Building a real body of work, finding an audience that cares, that stuff takes time. It takes patience. The real secret weapon, it's just not giving up. It's about sticking around, showing up day after day, and just doing the work. So I want to leave you with a challenge. Don't wait until you feel like an expert. Please don't wait for perfection because it's never going to come. Ask yourself this. What is one small piece of your process from today? An idea, a little sketch, maybe even just a question you're struggling with that you can share with your scene. Go do it. Start now. Show your work.